Welcome to Hour 2 of the Midwest #1 weekly motorsports show, Track Talk, on the RacinBoys Broadcasting Network. Brought to you by McCarthy Chevrolet. Once again, here's Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning and welcome to Hour number 2, Track Talk, here exclusively on RacinBoys TV. And Scott will be joining us here in just a couple of minutes. He's down at Devil's Bowl Speedway in Texas, getting ready for tonight's live coverage of the Lucas Oil ASCS Sprint Car Dirt Series presented by Mar25.avi. Spring Nationals, a one-night event. Last night's event was called off a couple of days ago because of wet ground, so it's a one-night only event for the third weekend of the National Tour, and we'll have live coverage of it again tonight beginning at 8 o'clock.
No, it's a new Corvette as it starts. No, you can't see it. Your dad had a Chevy. His dad, his brother had a Charger, but it was a Hemi, so that made it all right. His granddad used to take on Cadillac V8s with his new 265 overhead valve 56 Chevy. Racing is part of it. Hell, it is life. Plenty of left turns have been made under a banner that says McCarthy Chevy runs deep. Take a look at the car in front of you right now. Odds are it says McCarthy on the backside. They knew about the McCarthy low price guarantee. $10,000 if they can't beat a bona fide signed offer from a local franchise dealer on in-stock vehicles. That's right, 10 grand says McCarthy has the lowest price in Kansas City on any Silverado in stock, or Malibu, or Traverse, Equinox, or Cruise. Good people go through difficult times. All credit applications are accepted. Yeah, a Corvette. Sweet. McCarthy Chevrolet. I-35 in Santa Fe and Olathe.
We do have Todd Staley, the president of the United States Modified Touring Series. Again, 2 races were scheduled this weekend. We still got one on the docket for tomorrow night up at I-35 Speedway. Todd, thanks for joining us this morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Of course, all this rainy weather we've had this week's kind of thrown a monkey wrench into this weekend, but you've already got your season off and running. Had a big weekend down in Humboldt last weekend, and you were down in Texas before that. How's things going so far here in 2012?
Well, so far, Mother Nature hasn't been very friendly. We started out down in Texas, and that one got rained out, so we rescheduled it for the next weekend. Cost us about 30 cars probably. Had a lot of drivers that were already down there that ended up going home and not coming back. But then we went over and did the race over in Las Cruces for Royal, ran that show for Royal, and then we came back and we're supposed to have another race down in Texas, and I don't know what it is, but that one ended up getting rained out.
Hey, Todd, this is Scott. How about old Terry Phillips in Las Cruces, man? He's got that place figured out, doesn't he?
Oh, man, he's something else. He's something else everywhere we go. I mean, he's fast. There's no doubt about that.
Speaking of Terry Phillips, you had a difficult call to make last weekend down to Humboldt. Kind of take us through that situation where Terry Phillips was battling for the lead. I believe it was a week ago on Friday night, and he was placed at the back. Had to do with some lap traffic there. Kind of walk us through that decision where you had to put Terry to the back.
Yeah, it's just one of those deals that, I mean, I try to be as consistent as I can on all of our calls. And I think that's something that people respect for me. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Kelly Shyrock or Terry Phillips or Jason Hughes or who. Once in a while it's going to go your way, once in a while it's not. And for some reason, I don't know why, but on the race fever that night, I don't know if it was just because I looked at the racetrack and there was 30 cars out there and 30 cars in Humboldt a lot on that racetrack. And so for some reason that night I just said, okay, guys, remember the lap cars, they earn their spots on this racetrack too. So do not take a lap car out or you're going to be going the tail. And I think that's probably the first time I've ever said that on a race fever. I don't even know why I said it. And sure enough, Terry got into Dan Daniels and things happen, and it just happens quick. And I know Terry was mad at me, and we had a talk, and I think everything's good. But it's tough when you're racing for the win and $2,000 or $4,000 to win. And I mean, when you're racing for a living and with the way fuel prices and everything are, and you penalize someone for that kind of money. Like I said, I just try to be consistent, and that's where I'm at with it.
I think your credibility speaks for itself and what you've done for modified racing with the USMTS and USRA. I don't think anybody would question your decision. So I think if especially if you tell them that on the race receiver before the race, and how ironic that was that you mentioned that for the first time, and then that takes play during the race. But it just shows again why people clamor to your series is because of your consistency and how you try to treat everybody equal.
Yeah, like I said, that's the hardest thing. I mean, Terry and I go play golf on some of our days off or in the mornings, and
how's that golf game for him? Can he play golf?
He's a pretty good golfer. He used my driver a couple times, and he hits the ball better. And I think he's probably going to end up buying one of those.
I was wondering if that bread basket he was carrying hurt his swing or something, because it bothers mine.
No, he's a good golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what is going to happen this weekend. You're going to be up at I-35 Speedway on Sunday night, and that's turned out to be a really good venue for the USMTS. You had an event up there towards the end of last year, and I know you're pretty thrilled to get back up at Winston here a couple of times this year, and the first of which will be tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's another one of those bummer deals. I mean, with the way gas prices, and we got so many travelers that travel from just about everywhere. To schedule one race makes it a tough deal. And I talked with Mike White and Mike Johnson yesterday, and it was still raining in Lamont at that time. So he's like, Todd, it's going to be nice the next few days, but I just don't think it's going to dry. And then you put those big haulers in there. So we kind of made it down into one race, and all the guys that were driving over 5 hours were calling, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" But the nice thing about our point system is, you can miss a race and it doesn't really hurt you. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Having one show is going to hurt a little bit, but a lot of guys are going to come and they'll just make their way to Humboldt for the 15,000 win show. But looking forward to I-35 Speedway. It's going to be a beautiful day. That's the really nice thing. I got the Ironman stock cars and Ironman V-Mods racing along with the USMTS. It should be a great show. Looking forward to it.
Is that going to be a normal start time as if it was on its regular day?
We are going to hot lap at 5 and race at 5:30. Like I said, we're only running 3 classes of cars, so hopefully we get people out of there by between 8:30 and 9 o'clock.
So it should be a quick show. You kind of restructured things just a little bit for your national tour this year. Kind of walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, we started. We have Casey's Cup qualifiers, which qualify you for our hunt for the championship. We'll still have I think it's 16 races. All the hunt races this year will be 3,000 to win shows. Our 2001 Casey's Cup qualifiers, you earn points for the hunt. You make one race, you're guaranteed to be in our hunt. You're just going to start with less points than the rest of the people. And then we started a new national championship series. Let's pay $15,000 to win our hunt for the championship. And then we started this new national championship series. We have 27 races at 25 tracks, and every race pays $4,000 to win. And then and it's based on your best 20 finishes, and pays $30,000 to win the points.
Wow, that's real money there.
Yep.
What's the guys that have been out there with you on the tour for the last couple of years? What do they think about the new structure?
Every one of them love it. They're racing for more money. $30,000, that's a lot. There's not very many. There's only a few late model series that even pay that kind of money. And then the 4,000 win shows are big too. I think, like I said, our first show we had, I think we would have had about 90 cars if it wouldn't have rained us out that weekend.
Yeah.
Had a lot of guys from Minnesota and all over. And now our next race isn't until April 27th, so we got some time off. But like I said, the nice thing about it is it's based on your best 20 finishes out of the 27 races. So, and you can still miss a few races on the deal and still have a chance at the $30,000.
Hey, Todd, what's going on with Dirt Nights? I think that was a huge boost in the arm to USMTS, and it give you national exposure for some people that might not have seen it, your series before. What's going on with that? Are they going to get that show back on the air?
I really don't know. I know they were still looking for some sponsors. They did find a different TV. They were going to use like Fox Sports to air it, and that was kind of the last thing I heard about it. And so I really can't tell you much. I just know that they spent a lot of money to get it on the first year, and I wish they would have been able to find somewhere where they could have spent half that money and had a 2 or 3 year deal just to make it work. I think once you miss a year, it makes it even that much tougher. But
yeah, it was a great regain that momentum sometimes.
It was, and it was a great show. I think they did a great job with it. And it's going to be nice if we can keep it on.
Hey, Todd, let's talk about this big event coming up next week. You got at Humboldt Speedway, the King of America Modified Nationals. I was at this event last fall, and you decided to move it to the spring. And very impressed with the pre-race pageantry that you had going on, turning the lights down, the spotlight, the driver introductions, and, of course, it was a great race to boot. $200,000 in cash being doled out during the month. But you've got $15,000 on the line for the winner of this big event next weekend. And it starts on Wednesday night.
Yeah, I just had a talk with a driver about this the other day that he couldn't believe that I know we've had a bunch of calls since we kind of put it back out there, but we had like 55 cars pre-registered as of right now. And, I mean, a couple of these drivers that don't race with us all the time, they can't believe that's all the cars we got coming. And I said, well, we'll have a lot more cars. I'm sure a lot of people don't want to tie up their money, and then we get rained out and lose the race. So I'm sure that's some of it. And people just show up because it was only like $50 more to pay your entry at the gate. So, yeah, my intentions of moving the race, a couple different reasons. One was in October, people are kind of raced out. If we move it to March, maybe we'll get up to 100 cars, where we should get 100 cars. Ron and Renda have done a great job with that racetrack. They've done tons of work to it. The place looks very, very nice. And I'm just looking real forward to this event. Last year it was a success. Had 84 cars, good crowd. And this year I think it just takes time to build these kind of races up. And I think we'll continue to do this one.
Well, Saturday night was just a spectacular night. I know that it takes a while to get built up, but I know the packed house that was there for the Saturday night event last fall, it really did have that big event feel. The crowd, the fan base down around Humboldt, and the people who really support modified racing is about as good there as anywhere you go to, is it not?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, just like it was no different than our show last weekend. I was really impressed with. I'm not a big fan of doing 2-day shows at one track anymore, just because, I mean, our purchases have gotten so high that it does cost a lot to come to one of our shows. And, I mean, for people to come and spend $100 one night and then come back and do it another night for $100, I mean, it's just tough to get people to do that. And we had a great crowd both shows last weekend. Of course, having 70-degree weather in March doesn't hurt nothing either, but, yep, they between them and Deer Creek, and I know Lakeside. I'm looking forward to our show at Lakeside just to see. We haven't ever been there, and I'm looking forward to that one too. But and actually, a lot of our shows have really come up on crowds just because. I mean, we do have great racing and a lot of good drivers.
Who are some of the new guys that you're going to be traveling across the country this year that haven't been with you before? You got some new guys that you want to talk about?
Oh, man, now you put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I know, well, Stormy Scott, he picked up the ride that Tommy Meyer was driving for Chris and TC and Linda Noel. Of course, Ron Keith, he was running for our Rookie of the Year with Arbor Masters. Rick Beebe, he's going to be back on the tour again. A lot of them are doing just, some of them are just going to be doing the National Championship Series. Jeremy Payne, he's kind of stopped the late model stuff, or I'm not really sure. I know him and Terry split up, and he's got a full-time USMTS ride. I think Randy Davidson's helping sponsor.
I'm a little surprised that Jeremy hadn't run better than he has since he went over there on his own.
Man, I'll tell you what, he's had some terrible luck. He's been up in the front of just about every race, and something has broke or something has happened, and he's had horrible luck. But he's looked really good. I mean, he needs to get that bad whatever you call it off his back. I know that monkey off his back, but he's looked really good.
You mentioned Ron Keith. He's a good friend of ours, and you know, that guy has only been racing for a couple of years, and he's really shown improvement as a driver.
Oh, he's looked awesome. I know he switched cars to a GRT, but he has looked really good. And then, of course, you take all of our regular guys, Shyrock and Hughes, and And I'll tell you, someone that's looking tough this year is Rodney Sanders. Picked up the win last week, and of course Gus, and they'll be tough.
It's going to be very competitive indeed. Well, first things first, tomorrow night up at I-35 Speedway, and of course next weekend, big week down at Humboldt Speedway, and can't wait. A lot of great racing coming up. We appreciate you coming on, Todd, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay, thanks, guys.
You bet. There he is, the president of the United States Modified Touring Series, Todd Staley. And, boy, they got a lot of great – yeah, I like this format they come up with, this 25-race national championship that they come up with. And, you know, he's got a pretty good idea of scheduling, making sure that it helps the racers, you know, get more two-day shows, different racetracks where they don't have, you know, keep the travel costs down. He's pretty mindful of that. I like the way he's got this whole thing structured.
Todd Staley's a sharp dude. He didn't get this far by promoting this series by not knowing what he's doing. And I think his credibility, as we spoke of a little bit earlier, leads to a lot of that. And the action on the track and the amount of money that they pay, it all adds up to a pretty great organization. Really, probably, you know, one of the most successful touring series in the country. And we're talking about anything, you know, late model sprint cars, modifieds. It's definitely one of the most popular touring series in the country.